Okay. Good afternoon, everybody, and happy opening day. Thanks for joining us, even though the Reds are going to start playing in a half hour or so. Feel free to multitask and watch the Reds as you listen to these amazing people and their incredible resources here in our region. So, I'm Sadie Everett, and I'm the director of the Regional Autism Advisory Council, which lives at the University of Cincinnati in the IDD Education Center. And this is Advocacy in Action. And Amanda Timkepper and Amanda, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. Amanda Tipkemper. I am the Director of Education for Kids Thrive and also a independent consultant here in the greater Cincinnati area. Been doing this work for my whole entire career. Thanks for having us.
And Amanda came to me about a year or so ago and said, "Hey, how about a meeting or a webinar that we host monthly to provide all the things, all the information, all the things that the community needs, that families need, that providers, that agencies, disability professionals, you name it, whoever are serving our children, our youth, and young adults and adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities out there. Let's just make this event monthly and available, and we'll record it so that people have access to all this really important information." So that's what we've been doing, and we record every event. We have a Padlet where you can find all the resources and a YouTube channel where you can find all past events, and they are awesome. I mean, we have an amazing region with amazing experts, and we are lucky to have some of them with us today. So, without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to, unless Amanda, I forgot anything. Okay, I'm going to hand it over to my friend Amy to get us started.
Hello to everybody. I have to look into what a Padlet is. You've got me all excited. I'm like, oh, I'm writing down notes as you were saying everything. Hello to everybody. I'll quickly introduce myself. I'm going to try and be as quick as possible. My name is Amy Turner Iannacci, and I am a community outreach coordinator with the Division of Developmental and Behavioral Pediatrics at Cincinnati Children's, and I'm also our staff liaison for our Family Advisory Council. And very happy to be here. I know a lot of these folks, they're great, wonderful. So it's always an honor to speak with everybody and meet with everyone. I'm going to share my screen. Bear with me. I haven't done this in a while. I co-teach with people who are managing the screens. So let's see if I can do it. Did I do it okay?
You did.
Yay. I'll switch to the presentation mode here. It'll probably take a second. There we go. So the one thing I wanted to do today is to be as concise as possible because I want to tell everybody there's a lot of things at our hospital that I feel like people still don't know that we offer and that we offer to everyone, not just our families and children that we follow in our division, but the entire public. A lot of our services are open to everyone, and I'll explain that as I go. This first slide is basically a connect with DDBP slide. It was This came about from an FAC initiative years ago that we wanted to help families to learn about and to know what we're doing at all times in our outreach and in our services within the division, et cetera. So we created a newsletter, a monthly newsletter that goes out twice a month, actually. That is probably the number one thing I recommend to families to connect with us because it's very consistent. We provide, we like to call it the scroll and roll effect. We've got lots of pictures. So you don't have to do anything but look at the top of the email and see what's listed there, or you could go dig down and dig deeper into the flyers that are posted. We try and make it easy as possible for folks to choose. We also have an events calendar on our webpage. Literally on the homepage for DDBP at the bottom right is a calendar, and that calendar includes all of the activities of the University of Cincinnati Center for Excellence in Developmental Disabilities, which is also housed within our division, which also provides a lot of support and trainings for our public all the way through the lifespan. All of their events are on this calendar too. By the way, they're also in our newsletter. So I tell families, if you were to pick one, I would pick one of these two as your main resources or ways to connect with the division. But we've also created other ways. We have a Dropbox account where we drop all the flyers that are available into that account. It is routinely monitored and kept up to date. And there's a free app that you can use. So if you're an app kind of person, go for it. That's a great way. We have Linktree with the major connections that we want people to know about. You could just do that. That's also an app, right? And we post everything throughout our building, but we still realize that a lot of people don't know what we're doing or what we are providing. So we're constantly evolving and finding new ways, and we are so open to anyone suggesting ways to communicate with the public. We're all about it. But today I said the one thing I'm going to do when I come here is I want everyone to know about this email that's listed on this slide. I call this the one-stop shopping email. Regardless of who you are in the public, professional, families, doesn't matter. If you have a question regarding our services and supports, or you're in need of help or assistance, email us. Be as detailed as you can. Email us, and we will connect you with the correct people or person, if it's one person. We're all about that. And I want the whole public to know this is open to everyone. You do not have to be a patient or have a child who is a patient followed by our division, or be a patient at Cincinnati Children's Hospital. Because again, we have family support team members who are ready and willing to help. And most of them are part of the USAID that help our general public. And then we have specific staff members who are employees of Children's who help those who have children who are being followed by our division. So please spread this word. This is open to everyone. And we have family navigators who can help folks navigate our system, which can be very complicated for a lot of folks. We have peer mentors that you can get through our Ohio peer-to-peer program, parent-to-parent, program. We can connect you with that. This is the magic email. I notice I put the phone number underneath it. Most people don't phone anymore, but if you love to phone, you can always leave a message, and they're pretty quick to respond. Give people time. I think they have within a week, they should respond to your email or your phone call. The next thing I always like to share is information about our outreach program, which is very robust. Since I started in 2018, we didn't have any classes, and then we started our class program up again. Our classes often repeat. We have multiple subject areas like anxiety, understanding behavior, toilet training. There's so many visual supports. It goes on and on and on. We have a calendar again that is listed on our homepage. You will find all of our outreach programs, all of our trainings listed on that calendar. It's also found through this link that I have on the slide, and there is a handout that I provided to Sadie that everyone can have. Our our Eventbrite page has all of our present classes listed on that page, and I want to see if this will work, because I want to show everybody a little secret. Let me see if it'll go. Are you getting, let's see, are you seeing Eventbrite? Oh, okay.
Not yet.
Is it circling?
I think you'll have to reshare your screen.
Oh,
Bummer.
yeah.
Okay. You know what? I'll do that. Hang on a second. I'll do that. I'll do that at the end. There's a little known secret. A lot of people don't know about it. We have some on-demand classes on this Eventbrite page, and I really wanted to bring it to everyone's attention. We have a few classes that are in Spanish. We have classes that are called Things to Do While You're Waiting for an Evaluation for School-Age Children. And we have another class that's Things You Can Do While You're Waiting for an Evaluation for Toddlers. We have a swim safety class that's on demand and free. We have an elopement safety class that is on demand and free. And a lot of folks don't realize that. Okay. Our classes right now, all of our classes are free, but they're not all on demand. So the classes that are not on demand are listed on this Eventbrite page as well. But the on demand videos are there all the time, and they're free, and they're listed at the top. And I want to share that with everyone and spread the word around, because I think this is one of those things, again, it's buried, that people don't realize that they're there. We have more on-demand content. Yes, we do. And I think this is something, again, that gets hidden. On our homepage, if you go under Patient and Family Resources and you go under our outreach program link, you will find 10 very short on-demand videos that were made during COVID, during the pandemic, that are basically timeless. I think the only one, if you look at the title of Homebound, Strategies to Improve Compliance, you might say, oh, we don't need that. But I have to tell you, skip the homebound piece. Just look at strategies to improve compliance and cooperation with your children, because that's timeless. It works all the time. I want everyone to know these little modules are there and they're free and you have access to them. And yesterday, we actually corrected our YouTube videos. Yes, we have YouTube videos too. Our link was corrupted for whatever reason. We had to get it corrected. I didn't have any time to prepare it for today, but I will make sure that I post it in the chat for everyone so Sadie can share it out and broadcast that. We have several videos that were made in collaboration with our Family Advisory Council that I think are really good for new parents to the division, new parents to a diagnosis to help get them started. And that is everything from me today.
Amy, I think I found the link to that Eventbrite and I did put that in the chat to the
Thank you.
DDBP. Yeah,
Thank you. I just think that's one of the things. My goal today is I want to keep it
I didn't
simple
know
for
about that.
everyone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I
great.
I
really,
didn't
when you
either.
Good. This makes me happy. There are so many things, and you guys, I know all of you guys create so many wonderful things for families, and they don't know where to find them. And we don't have one stop. So I tried to simplify it. Again, it's that email address. Families who have any questions, any needs, go send them there. The outreach program, that Eventbrite link, that'll be the good one. And those on-demand videos, spreading that word because everybody wants videos on demand. I will love you for doing that. And thank you very much,
Yeah.
everybody.
That's great. I love your newsletter and I use that as a resource as well to push out information. But the on-demand stuff I did not know about, so I'll make it a point to share that as well. That's awesome. That's great. Great
Thank you,
resource.
you guys. I appreciate each and every one of you because I know what you guys do. I watch everybody and thank you for what you do for our families because I'm one of them. Like Jen, we all know, we all appreciate you.
Thanks, Amy. Okay, next. Did we say Joni's going next or Sean? Because Jen wants
Let's
to go
say
last. Joni?
Sure.
Okay, let's go,
Jen did a
Joni.
nodded. Jen did nod it by going off camera. Do you notice that? She
Right.
said
I'm
Right.
like, I think
nodded.
it's just me now. Jen's
It worked.
she's back.
Sorry about that. I had a kid coming home from school, which is kind of the reason I want to go last. Go ahead, guys.
Yeah, no problem. We're
All
just
good.
teasing you.
Amy, thank you for sharing. I loved seeing those. I actually already bookmarked several of them because we can share them with the families we serve. That's really helpful. Um, I'm Joni Justiniano. I am the multi-system project manager at the Southwestern Ohio COG. So, I have information about our COG here and I will share it. Let me go ahead and put this into the version of things that is helpful for everybody. Yep, okay. All right, are you guys able to see?
Yes.
All right. So the Council of Government is really a cooperation, a collaboration between 6 of our local county boards of developmental disabilities. And our mission is to provide support and solutions to county boards through cost-effective shared services that deliver value, satisfaction, and maximization of resources. So that's sort of like, I guess, our elevator speech, if you will. Um, but I wanted to kind of explain that councils of government are not actually limited to the DD system. There are also COGS for education. There's wastewater, or not wastewater, I'm sorry, water quality management COGS, like things you wouldn't expect. But it's just basically a way to connect across regions, especially when it comes to systems like developmental disability support systems. There's a lot to keep track of, and there's a lot of rules that counties have to come up with in order to create something more functional, a procedure. And when we work together, we're able to do a lot more and figure out the most efficient way to do things, and problem solve for things that we might not have seen before that someone else has. So that's why we exist. Um, as it says here, we have 7 DD COGs in Ohio. So 91% of the county boards of our 88 county boards in Ohio are members of COGS. So we're pretty common as far as what they do. There's a couple big counties who are not in one. But they have a lot of benefits. And one of the benefits is that we are able to invest money in a way that county boards are not able to. So this isn't like super interesting or helpful for families. I apologize, that specific piece, but I do think it helps people understand, why it matters, right? Like we are able to do things a little bit differently and have some of that flexibility. And then the money that is gained there is able to go back to county boards and create more services, which is great. Everybody wants more services. So that is one of the ways that we're able to be helpful. Our COG currently serves Butler, Claremont, Greene, Hamilton, Montgomery, and Warren counties. So we have 6 counties in our region. And we have different departments. So, we have program administration, financial services, transportation coordination, family support services, provider compliance. But each of these departments, county boards can choose to opt in or out. So it's not like, oh, if you're a member of the COG, you have to do all of these programs, right? But you have access to them and you're able to utilize them. And a lot of times when we start a new department, like my department started in 2021, people weren't sure if it would be useful to them. And then as we began to actually create services, they're like, oh, no, 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 that is something we need. So it's kind of a nice way for county boards to see how something different might work and then participate in it when it feels like an option for them. We run some SSA orientations. We run county board and provider trainings, and they also do accreditation reviews. So accreditation from the state that comes in and assesses, how your county board is meeting procedures. We will come in ahead of time for that and review documentation in the same way. So we're just trying to make the system a little more effective, and giving county boards the opportunity to do that sort of trial run before the state comes in, and asks a lot of questions, all of which are important, but that you may not be able to or ready to answer. So it kind of can help them prepare for that. We have a home mod and equipment department that is very helpful for a lot of our counties. So there's a little bit of a complex system, but basically, if a family is connected with the county board and, for example, someone in their household uses a wheelchair and they need a ramp in order to get into their home, they can talk with their SSA about that. There are some screenings that happen before they ever get to us. But once that referral is made, we have an occupational therapist. We have three. We have many occupational therapists. They have a very specialized service, and they will go out and evaluate the environment someone is in. Sometimes they'll do sensory assessments to basically determine what are some of the supports that might make this environment more doable for the person with a disability. So in that way, we're really able to try to help people stay in their homes, especially if they have a disability that might worsen or change over time. The home that they live in might need adaptations. So they come in, they can do that assessment, share those recommendations, and then they're able to typically they work to get approval through either the county board or through Medicaid, depending on what the modification or equipment piece is. And then they will actually follow through the entire process of partnering with a provider who does that work. For example, a bathroom, they would put out a bid, and they would put out a request for bids, and then local agencies and companies across the state would see those bids and say, hey, like this is what we would do. Here's how we would do it. Here's the price point. And then we actually have coordinators, home mod coordinators, who oversee all of that from start to finish. So it's a really cool program. And it's something that it would be really hard for some of the counties to do that if it was just theirs. But since we share it across multiple counties, for example, Butler County and Greene County and Montgomery County, because we share it, we're able to reduce the costs of running all of those pieces. And again, we're also able to work, it just makes more sense. Like there's only so many businesses that do that work in our state. And so, if they're able to have relationships with the same providers across multiple counties, they might say, hey, I know this is sort of a different ask than usual. Have you spoken with this provider? Or here's how we've seen it done before. So it just allows collaboration that wouldn't happen if we kept all of those counties siloed in this work. So it really is a benefit to make things more effective. Um, Multi-system coordination, that's me. So one of the things that I do is basically counties have individuals with developmental disabilities and complex needs, and those individuals often are referred to my department. So we'll review those cases, and then a lot of times we will provide recommendations and access to specialized services. We work with a provider who has 2 homes in Butler County that provide an intensive or therapeutic service for young people and young adults, the separate environments, but to work on some of those behavioral support needs that they are not often able to do in other support environments. So, if you think of someone who struggles with maybe aggression or elopement or other challenging behavioral needs, there's a lot of environments where they're not willing or able to take on that risk. They might not have the staffing the staffing ratios that allow them to support needs that have that high of an intensity. Um, and we're able to support access to that. By working with the provider, we're also able to support individuals that providers might otherwise shy away from, because we're working very closely with them. A lot of times we'll work with the behavior support specialist from the county board and the provider, and we kind of try to we do team meetings where we talk through, what are the biggest concerns? How can we solve for this? What trainings might you need? Myself, my staff person, Alicia, we do a lot of trainings for providers and for families to help them understand what could be more effective and what support we might try. Sort of my typical, or my byline that I give people, and is the truth, is like, I can't promise that this will be perfect, but I promise you won't have to do it alone. Because we're all navigating some of this together. And as everybody on this call knows, there's a lot of changing systems and processes, especially right now. So just having people who are willing to sit with you at the table and go through those steps can be really beneficial and relieve some stress for families and for SSAs and for providers. Everybody's doing their best. So that's part of what we do. And then we also have a family support services program. And we have 2 individuals. One of them is named Michelle and the other one is named Sandy. They're both incredible. They're so friendly. If you've ever interacted with them, because I think they sign every email with a smile, and they really are that pleasant in person too, I can say, having worked with them. And they review applications and information from families who want to access some of the dollars that their county board sets aside. So for example, Hamilton County, they have certain family support dollars that they set aside for any family in the county who has someone in their family with a developmental disability and who does not have a waiver. And so rather than those families having to cobble together certain supports or apply for different programs, they have a set amount of dollars that are available to them. The families get a list of guidelines, like here, they provide sometimes dollars for respite services, they provide money for summer camps, sometimes it's equipment. And you do have to connect with the representative prior to purchasing. So basically they send out information and let you know, hey, you qualify, here is some of the money available to you, here are some of the programs you might choose to use it on. And then as a family member, you complete that document to say, hey, like, you might talk to your SSA and say, hey, I really need help. We want to get, a water table for our child who has sensory needs. And this is something that really helps him in the summertime. We're home a lot. And, it seems small. It can even see, right? If you're looking at that from the outside, you can think, oh, that's a toy. But from the inside perspective and seeing how things work for families in daily life, having a toy like that, something that allows them to use water and to be outside, that might be the regulation strategy they need that helps their child remain out of crisis over the summer, right? That's preventing a hospital stay. That's preventing an increase in medication management. So there's pieces that sometimes we don't always recognize how beneficial and impactful they are to families, but they can make a big difference. And Michelle and Sandy do a great job of supporting families to say, hey, like, here's the information I would need, or can you send me a couple of quotes? I've even had them send me back to families like, hey, we could do this, but I actually have had families find it cheaper on this website. Do they want to update the quote? So they're a really wonderful support team as well. And aside from that, we do some things with transportation for some of the counties, some admin stuff that is not as fun or useful for families in terms of what frontline access looks like, but it does seem to help kind of lower the stress and lower the workload for some of the SSAs at some of the counties who have really high caseloads. We can take away some of that pressure, right? And if we can navigate those systems and processes more quickly for them, they can do the part that matters more, which is actually working with families. So that's the COG. I did want to share briefly, we just revamped it last year. Our website is pretty helpful. When you go to it, you can view our team, our board. It has this same information about services. For example, the family support services. It even shows for each county, what are some of the directions and forms that you might need. So this is a really good place to look at baseline information. And then we have a calendar. So we do a lot of trainings. Many of the positions in our service structure require ongoing trainings throughout the year to keep up. And we offer a lot of those, and we partner with trainers throughout the region. So you get opportunities for things that you might not know about otherwise. I don't know how I'm doing with my time limit. I'm probably far over, but if there's any questions, please let me know.
You are doing just fine. Any questions right now for Joni? All right, then Sean, you're up.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I am Sean Bostic, Family Engagement Coordinator with Hamilton County DD Services. Johnny actually covered a good portion of the stuff that is taken care of when it comes to families having access to the various resources through Hamilton County DD. I work specifically in the planning. Uh, um, it's skipping me. It's skipping my mind. I can't believe I can't. I'm on an A-Life team and I work for planning, um, innovation, and quality under Dawn Freudenberg. I can't believe that just I don't know why that happened. Maybe because this is a long day and this is opening day. And so I work for a sub-department called A-Life, which stands for Advocacy, Life Course, Inclusion, and Family Engagement. So I get that inclusion and innovation. That's what it was. It was the I. But for people who are like seeking services with Hamilton County DD, I didn't come up with anything fancy to share like the other people did. But usually someone will reach out to our intro and eligibility department. And a lot of times what I would do, even before a family would reach out, I like to do like a little pre-work with the family, meaning I like to make sure that they come to the table already prepared. Because what ends up happening is if you call the number, which is 513-559-6990. And you make a dry call, there's going to be things that's needed from you. You're going to have to get diagnosis, medical information documents. You're going to have to get school information. So what I like to do is when I meet with families that are interested in receiving services from us, I like to let them know what is needed before they even make the phone call. Because it's really helpful because that could be a major deterrent for some family initially. And they're like, I need to get this, I need to get that. And that may cause them not to want to call back anymore because they just have too much going on. So I try to make it very convenient for families. We also have an eligibility form on our website. It is fantastic. It's very easy to use. It's very user friendly. And the eligibility department, they do an amazing job with getting back with people. We're really big on making sure that we get back with you within 24 hours. Um, my particular work, though, if you don't mind me diving into what I do specifically, as the family engagement coordinator, my work is a little different. I don't have a caseload, but everyone within the county has access to me. And of recent, I'll say is we're doing this thing called Covenant of Supports, and I'm really pushing it. And the reason why is because of recent, we have witnessed how our systems can sometimes fail us. I think many people, many families back in October felt like, maybe by me not getting my SNAP benefit, I don't know how secure when it comes to receiving services. Is this really secure? And a lot of families I had report to me that they just was not sure how things will look in the future. So Covenant Supports was created by Marsha Phillips. It's a mother that we serve. We serve her son, and she created this back in 1998, actually. And it's a grassroots approach in making sure that a family will gather all their loved ones, friends, community members, religious organizations, bringing them together for really a formal meeting and letting them know what the need is and how they can benefit the family. And we're really pushing this because we want families to start relying on their personal networks. And that's what we push in Futurist now as well. I get to Futurist now in a little bit, but I really want to hone in on Covenant of Supports. And it doesn't have to be um, a covenant of support for you. It could be a circle of support, whatever you want to. You customize it for the family's need. The family could customize it because I had a family I spoke with, and it was just like, because we have a video on our website, and I'll share it here in the chat. But they were just like, I don't think that will apply to me. And it's like, yes, it will. And we will help you put this together. We have mentors. I'm one of the mentors so that the family doesn't feel like, well, this doesn't benefit me. This can't work for me in my situation. And it's like, yes, it can. We can help you build a personal network for your family. And it's really, really, I would really urge everyone to please watch the video. It's pretty long. It's about 22 minutes on our website. But it's really beneficial. You get to see how important it is for your loved one to have a covenant, to have a circle of support, because not everything should have to rely on the caregiver. And then we know that sometimes, eventually the caregiver may not be able to be there anymore, right? And that's what Future is now is about, is planning a life for your loved one after you're unable to continue to provide care or after you pass on. It sounds pretty morbid, but it's reality. And every parent has the right to make sure that their loved one is in a good space before they leave this earth. And it's our duty, not just as the caregivers, right, but as a society, as a community, to make sure that that happens. And that's what Future is Now is about. That first night, it's a four-part series. And the first night, we really hone in on the hopes and worries that families have. And usually those hopes and worries, the worries are centered on what's going to happen to my loved one after I'm no longer here. No one can take care of my child better than I can. What does life look like for them? Who's going to take advantage of them? And that's the worries. Those are legitimate concerns. And then the hope is really, when we think about it, is it's to compel you to say, you know what, I hope for these things for my child, and this is what I can start doing now to make sure that those worries and concerns don't become a reality. And so we meet with the families. It's really, really nice. We're doing it via Zoom of recent because after COVID, things changed, and we used to do it in person. And I think families got comfortable being in their homes, meeting with us via Zoom, which is perfectly fine, like what we're doing right here now. So, like stuff for the families that are watching the game and on here, we can do stuff like that. But it's really a great night. And then we talk about how your loved one inspires you, the qualities that you enjoy about them, not the pathologies, always the issues and the concerns. We already heard about that. We already know what that is. But we want to talk about how they're so wonderful in your life and the blessings that they bestow upon their family members each and every day. The second night, we talk about building a personal network, making a weak tie into a strong tie, and that's connected to covenant of supports. And and just we give examples of how families have literally have DSPs who say, you know what, I'm not going to just be a DSP and just get a paycheck. I really want to invest in this family and into this person, and how really that weak tie became a strong tie. They became a part of that inner circle. Um, the third night, we talked about the housing opportunities and how unlimited they are now. I think group homes are awesome, but there's more options out here now. You can leave your home to your loved one with not just natural supports, but with tech first, all kinds of things. It's just amazing what's available out here. I just had I met with someone actually yesterday who said that they want to create a home not just for their loved one, but also for other families. And it's unlimited. So we talk about how important that is. And then we talk about the waiver. People usually ask about that. It's not my expert. I'm not an expert in waiver at all. We usually have someone from the waiver team, SSA, talk about that. But there are like three main waivers, and depending on the need and the criteria that's met, that's the kind of waiver that you will receive. And I know there's three kinds: the individual option waiver, the self waiver, and a level one. So it's really based on the need. Um, and so the fourth night, going right back into covenant of supports, we've modified some things with Futurists now. We talk about care for the caregiver and how a caregiver needs to make sure that they don't neglect themselves while managing their loved ones' well-being. I remember a few years back meeting with a mother, and she broke down and cried and reported that she didn't feel like a wife anymore, that she didn't feel like a mother to her other children anymore. She just felt like a caregiver to her one particular child who needed, that special kind of attention. And we reassured her that you are those other things, and that it's okay to take care of yourself and do things that's centered around you. Make sure you have fun for yourself, that you do things for yourself as a caregiver so that you could effectively be there for your loved one and for your other children and for your significant other. And then we go right back into covenant of support. And I could tell you guys, I've witnessed two covenant support so far, and because it involves food, there's a whole list of things that you have to do to create this covenant, and you don't do it on your own. We will support you, and it's in your home if you want it to be. It could be out in the community if you want it to be, but it is an intimate environment with your loved ones, with your friends. I remember this one we had, it was just most of his church family because they're really a close-knit community, the church community, and it was just mainly church folk there. And they were just so invested into this young man, and it had a lot of questions. And I happened to be there, obviously, and it was just wonderful. And so what the goal here is for us within Hamilton County DD is that we really want families to go back to that grassroots approach and helping create a support system for themselves with our assistance. Because DD, a lot of people don't realize this, but Hamilton County DD was created by families. It wasn't created by these professionals and experts. It was created by families. And so we're getting to that. I guess we're getting back to that era of where, families matter, and we have to make sure that their voice is heard, and we implement things that's going to be really beneficial and convenient for families. So that's what's going on with Hamilton County DD on my end. Does anyone have any questions? I gave you like a general overview, but what I specifically do was a little bit more detailed. But if you have any questions for me, I'm here now.
I
My
don't have a
children are
question.
really loud in the background, and they know that they should not be loud in the background, and so I'm going to scorn them for that. Shame on them, but because they know I'm doing a presentation, and I told them to stay outside. So, any questions for me? I'm sorry.
You're hilarious. No, I don't have any questions, but I just want to chime in and say that I participated in A Future Is Now, and it is excellent. I mean, super excellent. So please share this opportunity. I mean, I was really blown away that Sean and his team, they are so sensitive and caring and um, knowledgeable and a partner with the families and truly excellent. So, and I know you have this service now, but before I participated, I didn't really know what it was all about, and it is really intense and really amazing. So, any fan and I'll mention for you, Sean, that I think you guys started a Future is Now for families with younger children as well.
Yes, I'm
Yeah,
glad you said
so
that.
that I haven't
Yeah,
participated in that, but I'm sure it's just as wonderful. Um,
yeah.
but I love that because I do feel like there is a cultural shift,
Hmm.
happening where people want to be on top of things and
Hmm.
educated and have the resources and I appreciate that you and your team are making that happen as well, like earlier on in the life. So very cool.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sadie. Well, you know what? No one knows their situation better than themselves, and no
Yeah,
one can tell a family what's best for them more than themselves. So, that's what we're
that's so
here for.
true.
But thank you again for that. Thank you, Sadie.
It, it's the truth. It was amazing. So yeah,
I
great.
added a couple of links from Hamilton County onto the Padlet as well. So Sean, thanks for dropping the one in. I added the one about the housing guide that you're mentioning as well, which I think is a fantastic resource.
All right, Jen, bring us
All
home.
right, I'll do it. I'm ready. I say that, and like Sean, I also have kids
It's
who
okay.
are running
Yeah,
around. This is like the worst time of my day to be
I
doing anything
know.
professional, but and like the Reds just started. I'm not watching it. I'm taping it. It'll be fine. But yeah, thanks for letting me join. I'm a connector. I work for the Arc of Ohio, so I'm always connecting people to all of these awesome people, because I'm an advocate, who's always kind of called in when there's a conflict. And so I'm usually trying to help a family resolve the conflict. So I have to call people like Sean, and say, hey, I need your help. This person's in Hamilton County and they've tried everything else, and I need you to help me. And I've called him a couple different times, and they are a great support there. Um, I will tell you, I have the Arc of Ohio. Okay, thanks, Amanda. I was gonna open up the website because I have share, just so you guys can see my really great desktop. That's a mess. I'm not seeing where am I share? Oh, there it is. Okay, share. I wanted you guys to see this is on our website. Our spring conference is coming up, so I want to first and foremost plug that. That's my main job here. The ARC does several conferences a year, but this one's in Cincinnati where I'm at. So I'm really, really pushing this, and I'm the one who got to kind of pick all the people that are speaking based on what I thought families have been telling me that they want to learn about and hear about. So we do this conference at the Hamilton County ESC. They've got a great space there, having some really good speakers. It's a 1 day conference. It's $10 for family members. Um, if there's anyone who can't afford that, we will just come. And then their vendors are $99. We're gonna have some great vendors there. Um, I'm having Ashley Barlow come, talk about reading and other kind of things that she really works on with families. She's a private pay advocate, from Northern Kentucky, but works in Ohio as well. But her expertise is in reading. And so a lot of our kids need reading support. And I was like, and especially like my daughter Evie is having that a lot right now, and I'm learning a ton about it. And I was like, will you just come and talk? And so selfishly, she's going to come. And then I have Pepper Stetler, who is a professor up at Miami University and has been really doing a lot of work in the disability rights area. She actually just wrote a great piece about a man with Down syndrome who is being held in ICE detention. I will share that in the chat when I'm done. She is also wrote a book about the IQ testing and why it's, difficult to use IQ testing on our kids and kind of the history. So she's going to come do some like good special education history. She's been on my podcast a couple times. I'll plug the podcast, the Arc of Ohio podcast. And she's just a wealth of knowledge and has really good information. She has a daughter with Down syndrome like me, and our kids are almost the same age. So she'll be great. We're also giving away her book there. So like everybody who comes gets a copy of her book. And then we're having Kim Mushino. She's the senior director of Medicaid policy at the ARC United States. So she's going to be able to give us the federal policy outlook, which is like who knows what she's going to be talking about that day because every day is a different story up at the federal level. But she is a wealth of knowledge and kind of wanted her to go over Medicaid, especially what's going on with it. What are we going to be looking at with these cuts that are coming at the end of the year? And maybe there's a silver lining or something we can do about it. And then, of course, we're going to have Gary and Dave talk and give their spiel on waivers and all things that are changing. Especially, I think they're going to touch greatly upon the inner AI assessment that is coming out. I just got my letter today about the inner AI assessment that's going to be happening with all of our kids on waivers. So lots of information about that. But so definitely register, definitely come. It's going to be a good conference. There's going to be vendors and lots of information there. But as far as I am the director of policy at the Arc of Ohio, so while I still am always meeting with families and doing individual advocacy for families, I am also heavily so we do policy, education, social action, and family support. I'm heavy in the policy arena of that. So um, I am watching some bills right now. The state of Ohio this is basically the only time, there's a couple times a year where they like do jobs and work up there at the state house. And this is one of them. So every single day there's a bill that I need to be either watching on Ohio Channel or I need to run up to Columbus. So I'm up in Columbus like 3 days a week right now, following some bills that are affecting our community. And one I just wanted to bring to your attention, just we had the first hearing in the House this week, is for SB 35, which is our supported decision making bill. So we will be putting out info to get some testimony, both written and live testimony. If anybody can come up, you'll probably get a good 24, 36-hour notice on giving live testimony, but written is just as good in many ways. But basically, this bill, it did pass the Senate. So we have some good traction on it, and we'd really like it to move really quickly into a House vote because we really think we didn't have much opposition to it at all. I think it passed unanimously in the Senate. And starting to see a little tiny bit of opposition or questions from reps at that first sponsor hearing. So your families who have supported decision-making plans, or even if you're a family that just supports the supported decision making because you want it to an alternative to guardianship to be there and for more information to be had about it, please submit testimony, and we will be sending out information about that within the next week because I'm thinking that they're gonna probably schedule that next week or the week after. So definitely, if you're not getting the Arc of Ohio newsletter, let me know. That's basically where we put out a ton of our information. Also follow us on Facebook, basically is the main source of our um, social media. I think we do have Instagram and Twitter, but I don't think we are using it very, very much. That's going to change. We just got a new technology person who's like Doug, because none of us, it turns out advocates are not great with technology and social media, and definitely Gary, isn't actually he's not bad at Facebook, but he's like, what, Instagram? What do you want me to do with all this stuff? So we have somebody that's doing that and updating he just updated our nice website and put this on here. So definitely check out our website. All of our information's on there. I'll put my info in the chat for you guys, but those are the main two things I wanted to talk about. And just know that I'm here in Southwest Ohio, but we have advocates all over the state. So if you're anywhere in the state of Ohio and have any issue, basically a conflict, which from birth to end of life for a person with a disability or their family member and or family, give us a call, email us at the Arc of Ohio, and we will get you connected and help you. I do a lot of still school work, IEP work. I do a lot of helping people get their waivers, you know, doing a lot of appeals and helping people do their appeals. We have some great advocates in the state, and so I'm really trying to like bring people together in one spot. So another thing that I'm doing is I have a advocacy group called Ohio SWAG. It's Ohio Southwest Advocacy Group, and we meet at the Down Syndrome Association here in Cincinnati the last Tuesday of the month, or the fourth Tuesday of the month, I should say. So our next meeting is April 28th. It's at 6 p.m. and we're actually going to have State Rep Rachel Baker come because she's working on some things for our families, and we want to be able to tell more stories to her and have her hear us, um, and to be able to share. She's a Democrat, but she works very well with everybody in the House in their in different caucuses, especially in health because she's a nurse. So she's very helpful in like bringing the issues that really matter to us and bringing them to the Republicans that we need to actually sponsor the bill and get it done for us. So I'm excited that she's going to come. I'm also trying to get an auditor to come to that meeting with us to kind of explain property taxes to us because I feel like there's a lot of confusion about property taxes and I hear things and I'm like, I don't think that's true. I think that's misinformation. And not on purpose, but just it's confusing. And I actually had somebody tell me, you're going to need an auditor to like figure out what's going on with property taxes. And I'm like, I know an auditor. I'm going to bring her to an ARC meeting. And so I want our families to just be educated, know what's going on. We're always one of my main jobs is to um, get on Medicaid's rule. There's a different Medicaid rule or changes in rule every week, and I am the one that watches that. And so I always just want to make sure families are up to date and know what's going on, and know when they can make public comment, and know when they need to testify for bills, and know when they need to be involved in telling their story. So we are always here for you, and thank you so much. And I'll stop
Thank you,
sharing my
Jen.
screen if I can. Or Sadie, if you
I
know
want
how
to
to stop
just
sharing.
add to what Jen was talking about. I went to, and I'm not going to mention names, Jen, but I've been to swag meetings. Um, we had another guy who was running for office in Ohio who came, and he had like his whole, basically like 100 days what I'm going to be doing. Um, I feel like a lot of times when we talk about advocacy, people just assume that disability, special needs, these topics are just so obvious to us in the disability community, right? That we just
Mhm.
think it's top of mind to everyone else. This person who came to speak, disability, special needs, special education was not mentioned anywhere, not one single time in the hundreds of pages of his priorities if you were going to be elected.
That's right.
All right. So what Jen is doing is really important because we get so, I think, ears to eyes deep in what we're doing that we think that it's as important to everybody else. And it's not. And unfortunately, guys, and I hate to say this, a lot of times it's the last thing that people
Yeah.
think about. As someone who was an educator during the COVID times, waiting for that trickle down to come, we had to wait a long time. It started with general ed, and then it went through all the pieces of general ed before we ever got special education guidance, before we ever got any sort of disability guidance on wearing the mask, on how to support students, things like that. So it's so important that we bring our stories to the attention of the people that are representing us, and we cannot assume that they are thinking about people with disabilities. We cannot assume that, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah. And many times we're the expert, and we really should be telling them, and we just assume that they are experts at all things. But like Amanda said, guys, the people running our state house don't know anything. The people that are in charge of the Medicaid committee don't know what Medicaid does for our families.
Feel it. I know
They
Amy and I
don't
both are
know.
gagging.
And it's like, and it's okay. We have to do the work it's not okay, but we have to do the work to educate them and tell the stories and to hook them with our stories and our families. And that's okay. And like Amanda said, we have some great politicians and people in leadership that have great intention and they love people with Down syndrome. They love them, but they have no idea what and really don't think about what it means to take $1 trillion out of Medicaid. And they told us all day long, all day long. I met with the Speaker of the House. I met with tons of people. We were not cutting services for DD. DD's the last thing. There
Mhm.
will be no service cuts for you guys.
Because
You
they
guys
didn't
are
realize that
good.
Medicaid and DD went together. That's the thing. That was the aha. They were like, oh, people with DD are accessing Medicaid. It like blew people's
Yep.
minds. It
Yep.
blew
Yep.
people's minds. So again, like, do not assume that people know that Medicaid and developmental disabilities are intertwined, right? The same thing with public education. I just had a meeting recently with someone who is advocating for public education on the state level. They just funded this research that's going to come up with these really important tenets of what we have learned about the field of education, how we need to change it. And then I brought up the fact that I was a special educator, and the person was like, oh, you probably won't, you're probably not going to get much out of this report. And I'm like, how can you do a whole entire report on education, on public education, and not touch special education? So we can't assume. And
Yeah.
we end up getting our feelings hurt when we do assume, right?
I
That's what
also
happens
tend to
too.
think that, or I spend a lot of my time in the perspective of accessibility is for everyone. Like when we design systems, access, support with accessibility in mind, everyone benefits. You know,
Right.
if we put in a ramp, ambulatory people can use a ramp,
Mhm.
but someone in a wheelchair cannot use stairs. So it's, I think that's been one of the biggest mindset pieces that I bring to those conversations is like, we don't have to have a conversation about um, special education that excludes regular education because all
Mhm.
kids have development needs. And so what we can say is the developmental needs for this, 3 to 5 age range look like this. Here are some of the supports that can increase access for people with these needs, with these needs. And I think that when we give people a different framework for how we think about this, we're able to shift those conversations because it's less about what do they need versus what do they need as opposed like it's what do all people need and how can we
Yep.
help them get it. So I am so glad that we have people who are saying that loudly to the decision makers who need to hear it. But it sure is hard as someone who is working across many systems and spends a lot of time saying like what does it mean to design this thoughtfully. um,
Mhm.
that's just like the thing I beat the drum on all day long, right? Accessibility is for everyone, and if we design this thoughtfully, everyone will benefit.
Yep.
Thank you, Joni. That's great. And it's
Yeah,
great
I
that
love that.
you are multi-sector and are able to advocate across because that's the missing piece. It really is. It is a missing piece. We get so siloed in the work that we do. The more we can interact with people where we're not in an echo chamber. And this is an echo chamber, a lovely, beautiful echo chamber. And I'm so happy to be here with you. But the more that we can take the information that we've exchanged today and then get it out into other, and I mean, for Amy at DDBP, she knows it's for her, it's just getting out of DDBP, right? Like talking about getting out of the silos because DDBP in itself can be a really, really strong silo, right?
Hmm.
So, um, yeah, sometimes it's just a matter of walking down the hall and talking to somebody new at lunchtime instead of the same people that you've been talking to, right? Sean now with Hamilton County DDS being sharing spaces with JFS and other organizations, like I'm really excited about the opportunity that you all will have to collaborate with those other systems and make sure that disability and the people that you're serving are at the forefront of the decisions that they're making.
Absolutely. We're all excited about it. It the silo thing, we're just realizing more and more that we that can't be the case anymore. It's a major disadvantage, not just for the professionals, but mainly for families.
Yeah.
Hmm.
They really suffer, and they have to go from this one to that one, and then it's just too much. We all just need to be connected And we need to make it as easy as possible for families. And I think historically that has not been the case. And I remember working for Job and Family Services, how children that we would serve at Hamilton County DD would just go under the radar because the pronounced needs was more so about getting them connected with their family, that reunification, but not necessarily providing the child with what they need. And that would happen quite a bit. And so you don't have to worry about that anymore with us being in the same building. That's the goal, is that connection, that interaction. I could just go across the hall here and say, hey, I need to talk to you about that child there. They need some additional services from us. And if you don't think so, well, I'm going to advocate and let you know that they do. Now, how about that? Right?
That's
Because you
amazing.
have to be in their face like that. Seriously, because people are very, like Joni was saying, people compartmentalize everything and they think that that's their thing. That's their issue. No, this is all of our issue. We're connected. What's going to benefit them is going to benefit me. It's going to benefit this person. It benefits us all. And we have to get out of this siloed mindset. We all need each other at the end of the day.
Yep.
And what benefits one benefits all.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with you, Sean, and I think it's really important that the system, as it's being stretched for funds here now and probably within the next year, we remember that when a family comes to wherever they're coming to for help, it's really hard to ask for help. And it's really hard to tell the same story over and over again of your child's deficits and the trauma and all of the things that you're experiencing on a daily basis and have been probably for a decade or more, 2 decades or 3 decades. And so I just want everybody to know that when families are asking for that help and then they're being denied over and over and over again or being shifted to one place to another, well, that's not our problem, that's their problem, da da da. It creates in a family, or at least in a someone who's resilient enough to keep going. So if most people just stop asking and then they drop out. But if you keep going, it does create something where you're like, I'm gonna get the most amount of help I can possibly get, i.e. waiver, because I know that that can never be, or like it's harder to be taken away from me. Give me due process, gives me rights. And I'm going to try to use that whole thing because I've been denied and denied and denied and denied. And I'm just saying that this isn't every family and it's definitely not me and it's definitely not a lot of the families that we work with. But I will say that that is where we're headed. The more that we're not helping families, like the more that we don't have enough Seans out there to like actually help the family from the beginning of them asking for help to the end. A lot of people either get lost or they get bitter or they get vengeful or whatever it is. And it's never I'm just not going to let families be blamed for like any part of the financial woes of all of this whole system. And I'm just going to fight for families. And so I want families to know the only reason that the wages were increased for people that direct support professionals were because of people with DD coming forward and begging for help for a decade. The only reason we ever get anything done is because of people with DD. It's not other populations, it's DD because this is it. Like, this is the only thing we have. And like, we're not going to live forever, like we talked about before, and we have to make sure we're okay. And so, yeah, tell your story. Don't give up. Call an advocate and get the help you need.
Thank you, Jen. Amy, I feel like you had something to add. I saw you unmute really quickly.
Oh, it's okay. I'm absorbed in what everybody's saying. I'm taking it all in. I could piggyback on a little bit of everybody. When Joni was talking about universal design, that is something at our hospital that advocates within my division and leaders within my division and myself. I participate in a group in the hospital that we're constantly working on. And believe it or not, our families were mentioned in the patient family experience goals just recently within the past 5 years. Okay, so think about that. The Division of Developmental and Behavioral Pediatrics has been around for over 40 years. I think I'm terrible with the timing. So there is like an effort with the silo that we talked about, that Amanda talked about. The siloing in healthcare is horrible and horrific. People don't even know within our own institute what the division itself does. And I want you to know there are people always constantly behind the scenes educating people. And that's now, I think we're making headway. We're infiltrating a lot of, I'm giggling when I say this, and I tell you, it is kind of like infiltration. We're getting our family members on projects, and councils that are part of the broader hospital. That's again what Jen said about sharing your story, right? And talking about your experiences, positive and not so positive, right, to others in the hospital. And then they go, oh, yeah, there are children who have diabetes that also have a developmental disability. Are you? Yeah, I don't.
Shocking.
This is all that healthcare thing, like when you talk about that, and that's something that I'm trying to influence in different ways. And a lot of people don't even see what I'm doing, and other people that I work with, it's very behind the scenes. And I think that is what Sean talks about. Like we cannot think about this as, oh, I'm just going to help whatever, put your blinders on and you only help people when you meet them with what you know. But you also know other people who can get these people supports that they need and help them get centered. I try and always to keep it simple, but I'm like, usually there's more than the question they're asking me, right? There's more going on. And it's a lot of times just taking the time to just actively listen to people and trying to break down those silos. It is so impossibly hard. The number one feedback I get from families when they apply for our cancel, when I meet them out in the public, is I wish there was one spot for everything. And I already said that at the beginning of this today. I don't know how we can fight that, but there isn't one location where we can send people for all the answers. So we have to just keep trying to make those connections, create those circles of support. It's so funny that you talked about that, Sean, because my son has his League of Legendary Heroes, is what Luciano's League of Legendary Heroes,
Mm.
which are basically family and a little bit of friends that we've told them. We haven't really gone in depth about how we would like them to support him when we're gone, but we have, people mentioned in our will. I think all about the estate planning and all that. That stuff is hard to talk about. We've got to do that younger. I'm so excited that, you're talking about doing that with younger. We're trying to put that out as much as possible too, more than we ever have, talking about it before kids turn 18. We have to talk about it. I just love this kind of stuff because it's like, yeah, no one can do it alone, but together we're pretty darn powerful. I would say,
Yes.
I think the group of you together, I mean, just having this group together has been so helpful, informative, collaborative. I think it's beneficial for all of us to hear what the others are doing and what we're not doing, importantly as well. Um, it's 4:42. We've got a wild audience out there, Courtney and Cindy. Um, before we start wrapping up and doing the end of webinar, I wanted to know if you had any questions for our wonderful panelists.
Mhm.
Like Cindy said, thanks all.
Thanks, Cindy.
Y'all just gave me chills. I'm motivated.
That's
Good,
awesome.
good, good. Cindy, I'll put the link back in. I put the link in here. We've got the Padlet, and then we have a YouTube channel that has the webinar and then the resources that we discussed. I'll put those in there while Sadie takes us home.
All right. Thanks, everybody. This was amazing. Yes, this is being recorded. I will get the recording edited and onto our YouTube channel, and I will be sharing it in our newsletter. Thank you all so much for participating on this very important day in Cincinnati. Thank you for taking a break, but go